Hello. Here we are standing near the ruins of the Byzantine church, which was built on the spot where Jesus had broken the bread. Yeah. So we have the story of Jesus coming to Emmaus in the New Testament, in the Gospel of Luke. The Gospel of Luke tells us that on the day when Jesus rose from the dead, two of his disciples, he didn't know yet that Jesus rose from the dead, they were going from Jerusalem to Emmaus, and they were sad because their teacher was dead. And suddenly they met a man who started to walk with them and asked them, "Why are you so sad?" So they explained him that their teacher was dead and they had hoped that he was the Messiah. So that man told them that the Messiah had to suffer, to die, and to rise from the dead. And he explained them from the scripture all these prophecies about the Messiah. And when they came to Emmaus, they invited him to their house. And when he broke the bread at the table, they recognized him, that he was Jesus, who was alive. So they returned to Jerusalem to tell others that they saw the risen Jesus. So this story about Emmaus is very famous, and the Christian pilgrims coming to the Holy Land have always wanted to visit the place. So we have very ancient testimonies about this place already. We have a very ancient testimony of a bishop of Caesarea, Eusebius of Caesarea, who wrote a book about all the places of the Holy Land. This book is called Onomasticon, and it was written in the 3rd century AD, in the end of the 3rd century AD, about the year 2095 AD. It is during the Roman times, before the Byzantine times even. And in this book, he speaks about Emmaus, and he says that Emmaus today is Nicopolis. So as we have said already, Nicopolis is the Roman name of this place. As the Romans started to live here after Bar Kokhba's revolt, starting with the 2nd, 3rd century AD, the Romans expelled the Jews from Emmaus and created a city which was called Nicopolis. And Eusebius of Caesarea, who was a Christian bishop, he was a Roman, he was not Jewish. And when he speaks about Emmaus, he says Emmaus today is Nicopolis, a famous city of Palestine. So it is a very, very important testimony that the first Christians considered this place, Emmaus-Nicopolis, to be the place where Jesus appeared after his resurrection. Now, we have also a very important testimony of Saint Jerome, who was a monk in Bethlehem in the 4th century AD, and who translated the Bible into Latin. He visited this place 100 years after Eusebius, in about the year 395 or 380, 390, and he writes in one of his letters that he saw here the house of Jesus, the house of Cleophas, where Jesus entered and broke the bread, as it is written in the Gospel of Luke. So, and Jerome says that this house was venerated by Christians. It became a church. So we can make the conclusion that the first Christians venerated this house, and the tradition survived from the 1st century till the time of Jerome, till the 4th century. And in the 5th, 6th century, a bigger church was built on this spot. So we see here the ruins of this church. We see this apsis, This wall is Byzantine. So it's very ancient. It is 1,500 years old. And there was a very big church here in the 5th, 6th, 7th century, till the Muslims came. This place was a very big town, Christian town of Nicopolis, which existed during the Byzantine times. And many pilgrims were coming here. We have many testimonies of pilgrims coming to pray here. And this church was going up to there, so it was rather big, up to the entrance of our site. So these walls were built later.
So it went up to
the gate. Up to the road there. And this church was the pilgrimage center where pilgrims were coming to pray. There is also a testimony of some Byzantine authors who say that there was a water spring here, which, according to tradition, was the spring where Jesus had washed his feet. So many pilgrims were coming to bathe, to receive a healing in this spring. So this spring existed till also till Muslims came. We don't have any testimonies after the Muslim time. Yeah. When the Muslims came, the place was abandoned because of an epidemic of a plague. And when the Crusaders came in the 11th century, end of 11th, beginning of the 12th century.
How long was that after it shut down? Nicopolis?
So the Muslims came in the year 640.
Wow.
And more or less at the same time the place was abandoned. And the Crusaders came in the year 1099.
500 years more.
Yeah, and the place was rebuilt in 1140. So it took about 500 years till the place was rebuilt. And the place, these walls were built by Crusaders. This is a Crusader church. So the Crusaders, used the old Byzantine church, built the Byzantine wall, and they added their own building to it.
Left on the left.
Yeah. So.
And was there a town again afterwards as well?
We don't have much information about the Crusader times. We know that there was a Crusader castle not far from here, 1 kilometer to the south, which was built by a Spanish noble, and this Spanish noble gave the castle to the Templars, Knight Templars, who were sitting here, not far from the British police, which we saw there, just in front of it. The British police was built much later, but the Crusaders were there, and so they were also keeping the road safe for the pilgrims who were coming from Jaffa to Jerusalem, because the pilgrims have always arrived to this country by ship to Jaffa, and were walking up through by this road to Jerusalem. So
which is now the main motorway to Jerusalem? That was
more or less the same spot. Yeah, the highway passes on the same spot, and so the Crusaders were here for 100 years. We know also from the history that also King of England, Richard the Lionheart, spent several days in this castle. Yeah, so probably he visited this church too, but we don't have a direct testimony about this.
And here's the church. You see it again. First on the right, this is the first church, and the Crusader built the big one next to it. And I film it all the way through, and you see it went all the way down, the original one, and the Crusader one is smaller and stops here.
Yeah. Now, okay. Yeah. Now, when the Crusaders left, the Crusaders were expelled from here by Muslims. Yeah. It was the Muslim leader was Saladin or Saladin. Who expelled.
There's a movie.
You have. So you watch the movie. Okay, so now you can understand that the very important battles between Saladin and Richard the Lionheart took place in this region, near to Jaffa, between Jaffa and Jerusalem. So when the Muslims expelled the Crusaders from the country, they took over this place, and they returned to this place the ancient name of Emmaus. Yeah, because this in Arabic they call this place Amwas. Amwas. So